This is a quick overview of the SMART plan, a new section at the top of the encounter that is very similar to the assessment. In fact, if anyone's using the assessment section already, it's essentially very similar to the assessment, except it's at the top of the screen. So, when you first come in, you can see the SMART plan section, and it's basically the combination of both the assessment section and the plan section into a single section. And when you archive and close the visit, the SMART plan won't show at the top. It's actually, just to have the assessment plan. But given that most people, when they first come in, they may want to be driven on actions, and problems that are in the chart, we can put the SMART plan up at the top to help drive that. Now, you'll see this is a new patient, test patient that doesn't have anything on the problem list and has really nothing in the past medical history. If we go to the subjective and look at the past medical history, there's no problems. This is a brand new patient. So one of the things that's important is that when, let's say, for example, we're doing a quick list here and the nurse is taking a past medical history and putting items on to the past medical history, if I check off some things here, these are items that are going on to the patient's past medical history. It's also populating at the top in the SMART plan on the right, the patient's past medical history, but you can see it's not populating the problem list. So items that you assess go to the problem list. Items that you put in the patient's past medical history just apply to the past medical history. And we'll talk a little bit about what other problems are here as being problems that you might add to the system that you don't want to go to the past medical history. For example, there might be quality of care diagnosis codes or other codes that you just don't want to dirty up your past medical history. But what's nice is I can come in here, and see that the patient has a past medical history without having to go down there and look at the past medical history. I can also see the current medications the patient's been taking, as well as the past medications. I can order quick medications that I want to order here on the patient. This is to order medications. If the patient has anything that they're due for, that would show up here, and I can order things that I want to go to their due list. Any tests and procedures that I want to order can be done here, as well as visit orders, quick order visits. This quick visit orders is configured in the system, so things that you order commonly can be here to just order them and or perform them right here. Any recommendations that you want to set for the patient, for example, restrictions or opinions that need to be done or performed, as well as tracking goals that you want for the patient. So these are all, on the right side, just a quick list of things that you should be aware of and or things that you want to order for the patient. You can do it right here at the top. Now, typically what you do is you come in and say, okay, I want to make a new assessment. So I can come in here and say, okay, the patient actually has hypertension. I just tap on that. That adds it right here into my SMART plan. And you'll see that actually also adds it to the assessment. So if I go down to the assessment, you'll see it's here as well. And I can just go back to the SMART plan. And if I want to order something for it, I can come in here and click add order. Now, what's really nice is you'll see that, I can, pick items and autocomplete items. Like if I want a CBC, I can type that in, or I could use the pick list here and check off things that I want to order. But you'll notice right here is that I did hypertension. I can see that the CBC, potassium, and creatinine are here by reason. And this automatically learns what are your common reasons. So I can say I want to do a CBC, a potassium, and a creatinine, and then maybe I want to order something else. I want to add a sodium as well and hit add. And so now I'm adding a sodium to this and I hit save, and you'll see that I have hypertension and then these tests that I want to order with the sodium. Now the cool feature is that I added the sodium. Next time I go in and I do a hypertension on another patient, you'll notice sodium is in here by the reason. So by starting with the diagnosis first and then adding orders, the system can learn what you like to order based off of the condition that the patient is being assessed for. And so I commonly recommend that people start with the diagnosis and order from it rather than just putting in an order and then putting in the reason later. So I can also add other items here as well, like we'll say diabetes type 1, and that's now pulling it in from this make new assessment onto the SMART plan. If I want to make that my primary, you can move these and shuffle them by just dragging and dropping these, and you can see it changes the order in which they appear. And then I can place some orders here as well. And we'll do a A1C and a C peptide and hit save. So, and now you can see that I'm doing these items, which orders are under which diagnosis. As well as, if I need to, I can perform something today. So maybe I want to document the A1C today. This lightning bolt lets you convert this into something that you're now doing today. You're not ordering it for the future. I'm doing it today. And now I can click on it, and it drops me down to where it dumped this into the encounter under the objective section. So you can see tests and procedures that are ordered here, as well as this A1C that I'm doing. Normally, these would be done outside, but I can do, say, for example, in my SMART plan, I'm also going to order let's do a in-house testing and do a visual acuity Ishihara and hit add and save. So we'll see that we're going to also test the visual acuity here for the patient. And if I lightning bolt this in, it's going to move it down from here up to here. I can click on it and it takes me down to that section. I can click open and then document the results here. So we'll just say normal. So it makes it easy to order, perform the test, and then go back up to the SMART plan and see that that's been completed. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the SMART plan. It works also as well, by the way, with prescribing. As you write prescriptions, the prescriptions automatically come up here by indication as well. So the way you've written it will populate here as well, based on what the indication is that you're coming from here on hypertension. So here under hypertension, you can add notes as well. So this is me documenting a quick progress note on the hypertension. And what's nice as well is these notes that you type here will appear in the next visit, and we'll quickly demo that here, but this adds this right underneath the note, right? So hypertension has this note today. You'll notice that this is also editable from here. I don't have to click on it. And if I go into the note next time, you'll notice that note is here, and you can copy that forward in a new note and then edit it for today. But every note, when you go into these problems, will show up the history of the notes, who made the note, and the date time of that note. By the way, one of the other things too is you can specify the E&M category if you're doing E&M and you want to be able to know what the calculator can automatically calculate your complexity and the E&M level. If you also document the E&M category for this, whether this particular problem today is minor, self-limited, stable, chronic, acute, chronic with issues, acute with systematic symptoms, chronic with severe issues, or a threat to life. So, by the way, there are macros on the left that if you highlight this, you can hit this little magic wand and then save this as a quick macro for future use. Like I can name it as a .m and save it so that in the future that macro will be saved over here for other visits. So if I come in here or on other nodes, so I can just hit the .m and hit space, or use this selection here. But there's a phrase I commonly say. So I think that's it. One of the things that's important to know is that if you do bring things over here, all these options you can, like if I'm not dealing with the hypertension today, I can hit this button, which keeps it in my problem list, but it removes it from the assessment today. So you can see it's in the problem list of hypertension in the problem list over here. But if I hit this button, it takes it off of today. So that went over there. Now notice all the orders that were attached to that order are still here. So they're still ordered until you unorder them, which you can delete them right here by deleting them. But if I wanted to bring that hypertension back, if I click this, it brings it back, and then those orders then reattach to hypertension to the same place. So but just getting rid of it doesn't necessarily unorder those orders. It keeps them there until you delete the order. This here is able to remove it. So if you remove it, it will ask you to remove the assessment. Are you trying to remove it because it was an error, or you're removing it because you're saying it's concluded? And then you can put the date that it was resolved. But if they never had it, you can say you're removing it, or sorry, you're deleting it because it was an error in entry, and it doesn't remain on their past problems. And then there's the ability to add a task related to this if you need to do follow-up. And then, of course, writing the prescription and writing the order. So, and that's overview of the SMART plan. When you archive and close, you'll notice that this information, there's some tests that were ordered but not completed. I want to mark them done because I did complete them, and I'm going to hit say yes. And this is what it looks like. So you'll notice that the SMART plan is not here at the top, but it does have the assessment and then the plan down here. And it is possible to configure the system so that instead of having the assessment and the plan broken out, that you can have these plan items documented underneath the symptoms and diagnosis.